A Christmas came early for the Cleveland Guardians. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about John Kesky Noel. This kid is so impressive, and he just delivered huge for the Cleveland Guardians, who went into yesterday's game tied with Kansas City. Kansas City playing a 4-game set against Cleveland. They won twice on Monday. They won again on Tuesday, so it's a tie. They were down 3 going into it. They win 3 straight. So the Guardians and Royals tied atop the Central with a month to go in the season. Very, very tight. And John Kesky Noel, this rookie, 23-year-old rookie, not a super hyped up prospect. What he has done has been nothing short of spectacular. He delivers the game-winning RBI single in a comeback win for the Guardians. How about that? He went 2 for 3 with a couple of singles and a run batted in. It was the game-winning run batted in. 1 strikeout. If you look at what John Kesky Noel has done since being called up to the big leagues, in his first, granted, 120 at-bats, 44 games now. 5 doubles, 12 home runs, 24 runs batted in. He's hitting .264, 338 on base, 603 slugging with a 941 OPS. I'm a huge fan of this kid. And it's not just because of the name, although I do love Christmas, and I'm going to love the Christmas jokes and the Christmas puns, but Jesus might literally be on this kid's side. He has been so impressive. 23 years old, 6'3", 250 pounds, right fielder. How about him, John Kesky Noel? He's also just a fun personality, man. He's a fun personality. He's always smiling out there, having a good time, as he should. He's been impressive. But what a moment for him. What a moment for the Guardians, taking back the Central. Now, it's not going to be easy for them to hold on. It's very, very close. The Central is up for grabs. This is anybody's division. I mean, Kansas City 1.5 games back, so Cleveland actually won again today. Kansas City down by 1.5 games. Minnesota down by 3.5. Very, very close. This thing is not going to go down probably until the last couple weeks of the season. And looking at Cleveland's schedule, it's not going to be easy. They have to play after Kansas City. They play the Pirates, but then they play the Royals again for 3. Then they play the Dodgers on the road for 3. Then the White Sox, that's easy. The Rays, who are frisky, and then the Twins for 4. So if you're Cleveland, you would like to get through that Twins series and have it wrapped up. After that, it's St. Louis, Cincinnati, and then they finish at home against Houston. Cleveland, I think they would like to get through Minnesota and have it pretty much wrapped up, and that way when they play Houston at the end, they don't really have to worry about. I mean, Houston's tough. The last thing Cleveland wants is to play Houston and still have to win those games to win the division. Checking out the Royals' schedule, Kansas City, who do they got? They got Houston right now. They lost today. Then Cleveland again. Then Minnesota. Then the Yankees. That's a tough gauntlet. And they've proven themselves against tough gauntlets. But that is a tough gauntlet. Then Pirates, the Frisky Tigers, the Frisky Giants, Nationals, and they close with Atlanta. So Kansas City, once they get through New York, it's a pretty easy schedule. But they finish on the road against Atlanta. That's tough. And they don't have any more White Sox. Then you look at the Twins. What do they have? The rest of the Twins schedule, they play Toronto. They play Toronto tomorrow night, then Tampa, then Kansas City, then the Angels, Reds, then 4 with Cleveland, and then 3 against Boston, and then they close with Miami at home and Baltimore. So none of those are super easy. I would honestly say the Twins might have the easiest schedule going forward. Although I will say the Blue Jays have been heating up, so maybe the Blue Jays give them some fight. I think this is probably still the Guardians' division to lose. But I did pick the Royals to win it in the preseason, and I am on the Royals' side. Although I have to say, John Kesky Noel makes me like the Guardians a lot more. But that was a big game. It was a big series. The Guardians, they had to win that. I think if they had been swept, the momentum would be all Kansas City. And now, I think the momentum is still, granted, Kansas City still has decent momentum. But I think they've kind of at least knocked a little bit back onto the Guardians' side. And that's because of John Kesky Noel. All right, let's talk some Dodgers O's, two of the best teams in baseball. Yesterday, Game 1, Dodgers winning 6-4. The Baltimore Orioles gave some fight offensively. Ramon Urias with a double. He's now hitting .253. He went 2 for 3 with a double, 2 runs batted in, .761 OPS. Colton Cowser with a double in the leadoff spot, going 1 for 5. Ryan O'Hearn with a double, but no home runs, no long balls. Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday going hitless, as does Cedric Mullins. Adley Rutschman at DH going 1 for 5 in that one. Baltimore's not in trouble yet. They're still right there with New York, but I do think they have to get things going. Corbin Burns pitched well last night, gives up 1 earned run. The problem was 5 unearned runs, and that was due to a couple of errors. Ramon Urias with an error, Gunnar Henderson with an error, James McCann at catcher with an error. Speaking of, man, I think the Orioles, this offseason, they really need to upgrade from James McCann. I get that he's a backup catcher, but he plays a lot because they like to give Adley off days. James McCann, 55 games this season, 176 at-bats. He's hitting .222 with a .601 OPS. And he has not been a truly productive player since 2020, when he had an .896 OPS with the White Sox. He was not good with the Mets. He has not been good with Baltimore. If I were them, I would seriously seek out a new backup because they give Adley a lot of off days, which is fair. You know, I understand why they want to give Adley off days, but if you're going to do that, you got to have a better backup option. Dodgers on their part, Shohei Ohtani, he's now up to 42 home runs and 42 stolen bases. He swiped 2 bags last night, so he is officially a member of the 42-42 club, which I'm not sure how many other guys have done that. I think Acuna last year, and I think Alex Rodriguez. So I think he's the 3rd person to go 42-42. And, you know, we're going to get updates about him every day. Like, now he's up to 43, 44. I mean, the 50-50 chase is officially on. It's not even September yet. I don't think he'll get there. I actually don't think he's going to get to 50 home runs this year. I think he will be a 45-45. I don't see him getting to 50. But he went 2 for 4 last night, 3 runs, 1 run batted in. Gavin Lux batting 3rd. Not sure what he's doing in the 3-hole because he has a .693 OPS. He went over 4. Teoscar Hernandez with a 3-run home run. He's now up to 28 on the season with an .814 OPS. That signing seems to have worked out well for him and for the Dodgers. The rest of the lineup went hitless, so there was actually quite a few mishaps for the Dodgers, but they still end up with that 6-4 the victory. Credit Ohtani, credit Teo. They have been they've been the linchpins of this Dodgers team's success. Will Smith, Max Muncy have been good. So has Mookie Betts. Somebody who has not been good, Kevin Kiermaier, struck out twice. He's now hitting .201 with a .563 OPS. Even the best teams employ some bad players. Walker Buehler, a little bit better last night. He's still struggling. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, allows 4 runs. 2 of them were earned. A lot of unearned runs last night. 7 combined unearned runs. That's a lot. So Dodgers, they took game 1. Game 2 between these two teams is currently happening right now. Dodgers currently with a 1-0 lead, so we'll check in with that again tomorrow. But it's a good series. And like I said, yeah, the Orioles are not out of it yet because, again, it feels like every time the Orioles win, the Yankees win, and every time the Orioles lose, the Yankees also lose. And the Yankees, they did lose yesterday. They lost to the Nationals. Dylan Cruz hitting his first Major League home run. So the Yankees still with a 1-game lead over Baltimore in the East, but it's, you know what? It's still anybody's division, I think. I think that's up for grabs between Baltimore and New York. I think the Central is up for grabs between Cleveland and Kansas City. Seattle and Minnesota are still right there. And that's kind of where we're at. In terms of division races, where we're at is there are two teams that legitimately are in second place and they think they can win it, right? Kansas City, a game and a half out. Baltimore is 1 game out. And then there's about 4 or 5 teams that we just don't know about. Like, can the Mariners get back into it? They can. I don't know if they will. Can the Twins get back into it? Can the Braves, 6 back of the Phillies, can they make it interesting? Can the Padres, 4 back of the Dodgers, can they make it interesting? Can the Diamondbacks, they're also 4 back. So there's about 5 teams right there. Mariners, Braves, Twins, Padres, D-backs, who are close, but not close enough for me to really believe in them. There's 2 teams, Baltimore and Kansas City, who I do believe in. And I do believe in both Baltimore and Kansas City. I think that both of those teams can win their divisions.